how come it's taken us so long to do this RIN review?
I think RIN was one of our first reviews we ever did, and it was so bad that we
It was the first time I pressed record for us to do an anime review. We did it, and you know what? I wasn't going to bring this up, but my software program, you can blame it fucked up.
Oh yeah, I forgot actually what happened. We recorded it. How long were we doing it for, Don?
Probably 45 minutes or an hour.
And then what happened?
I tried to. It didn't compile. It didn't.
You didn't. More like you didn't press record.
No, it wasn't that. Don't try to make it sound so fucking ridiculous. It wasn't that. It didn't record. Not because I didn't press record. Because it didn't fucking record. Anyway.
Didn't press the button.
It took us a long time to get here, but now you want to say finally we get to review. We get to
review.
We get to review. We get review. Fucking French. We get to review RIN today for the first time, man.
The second time, and this time I know you pressed that button.
Yeah, man. I'm looking at that giant red record button. If it fucks up this time, boy, it ain't gonna be no RIN review. I'm gonna be like RIN review. Better than sex. But no, we don't use them ratings, and that's not the review. So let's do this, let's get started, man.
Yes.
Right, let's start with all the trivia and other bullshit. First of all, RIN is it's an adult supernatural science fiction OVA.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's called RIN, Daughters of Mnemosyne.
Which translates to?
In English, it means Daughters of Memories.
Yes.
Ironically, is when you watch the anime and you understand it, it's a very apt title.
It is definitely, it's one of the best titles that I've actually heard that actually relates to the anime. It really does, doesn't it?
It does. Mm-hmm. The anime was produced to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the Anime Theater X Japanese network channel. Now, I know this might be trivial for some people. Basically, it's this broadcasting channel in Japan that broadcasts adult animation, animation with scenes of sex. Ironically, the same television network that aired Gantz when it first came out in Japan. So you can kind of tell that, it's a kind. It would be my favorite kind of animated Japanese network. But in England and in America, I don't know what channels you got out there, but most of us just use the net or buy the DVDs, whatever. Anyway, that's how it came to be, people. Just so you know, all right. The story follows Rin Asogi, a private investigator that runs an agency in Tokyo with the help of her assistant friend Mimi. They perform odd jobs ranging from finding lost pets to hunting rare stamps in order to get by, to make a living. From the beginning, from the first episode, you learn that Rin and Mimi are both immortal. They cannot die.
That's not true, actually. I think you only find that out about Rin.
True. But it's not a spoiler, because you soon...
No, it's not a spoiler, especially the first episode. Boy, if she could die in the first, 15 minutes, you would already know by watching it that this woman has to be immortal by the first...
Yeah, the opening scene to Brit is her getting murdered.
Yeah, and it is such a good way. I was going to say it's a good way to be killed, but it's not a good way to be killed. But
Hey, I thought you were always hating that new Die Hard film title, A Good Day to Die Hard. And that's exactly what Rin does in that first episode.
You know what? Every time I hear that, it makes I don't know what it keeps on going on in my head, like a good day to wank off or something. I don't know why, but it's like Die Hard, like wank off, stand in the corner, yeah, really getting one off, yeah.
Funny enough, with this title, you can actually jack off quite hard as well, because there's a lot of sex scenes. Anyway, back to the Blazer plotline. And debauchery. Her little odd job seems to get more dangerous as the anime progresses. As through her odd jobs, you get to find out more of the origin and certain characters that have a lot to do with Rin's past. And the story I mean, the origins of their immortality is also slowly told over the course of the anime, and the anime is told over 70 years.
And it is only six episodes.
It's only 6 episodes, but each episode is 45 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a really nice little short little anime, But it feels like you're watching a mini movie.
Yeah, that's for sure. Okay, let's move on to the characters. So the main character is Rin, and as Donald has already said, she is a detective. I really liked her as a character, a female character. You know how I feel about strong female characters that don't, whimper in the corner and are just pining over a man.
You know how I feel about strong female characters. Sooner or later, they got to bend over. I'm playing. No. No, I like strong female characters as well in anime. It's only so you get, I can say that about female characters. I like seeing them bend over. I don't even have to ask in anime today. They do it all the fucking time. Panty shots and fan service.
I know, but that's the thing that I liked about this anime, because there was no fan service.
Fan service is not what this was.
No, it was different. That's why I had to think about it. No, definitely was no fan service. The thing I liked about Rin, especially as a character, is the fact that she's quite voluptuous, and but the way that they actually draw her, what she wears, is quite manly, so you don't really get to see that in everyday life until she's in a position where her clothes kind of do get ripped off.
Until she's assuming the right position, yeah.
You know what? Do you want to just go and let one off in the corner or something? Because all I'm hearing is bending over and assuming the right. You know what I mean? Do you want to just have 5 minutes to yourself?
Why you got to be like that?
Because I don't know. What you're going to need right now, the way you're going.
Hey, look, if I want to watch hentai, I'll just watch hentai. This anime has a deeper meaning, all right?
You better tell yourself that. Tell yourself and your little friend.
You're the one that said how voluptuous she was. Move on to Mimi, man. Talk about these. Let's get obsessed with Rin. What about these other characters?
I was trying to get anyway. Yeah, so Mimi is obviously her assistant. She's kind of like a bait. They made her out to be like her in her late teens. She appears to be in her late teens, and she likes a bit of a drink, but she's also a computer head, so she's really, really good with IT and stuff like that. And as time goes by, because like Don, you've already said, it goes on for 75 years, you see that she just becomes more and more equipped and good with IT and stuff like that. Then you've got one of the main villains, right, who I love, who's Laura. Her name's Laura, and she is just like an assassin. She's in the first opening scene. She actually, this might be a spoiler, but I really don't care. She kills Rin in the first scene, and it's just really, really cool. She's like a bloodlust, crazy assassin. She's just after Rin throughout the whole thing, the whole anime.
She's literally on her ass.
Yeah.
She's really, there's some kind of, I don't know what kind of grudge she's got against Rin, but every time they see each other, they're trying to, well, I wouldn't even say they're trying to kill each other. She's trying to kill Rin.
She's trying to kill Rin. I think obviously that she was obviously assigned to kill Rin, and then I think she's intrigued with the fact that Rin is immortal. So I think she just gets to a point with how many times I can kill her. And then obviously this is probably another spoiler as well, whatever. But as you may be thinking, well, how can she continually try and kill Rin over 75 years? And that's because at a point she does become a cyborg, basically, which allows her longevity.
Okay, that is a bit of a that is a bit of a spoiler.
Is that a bad one?
Nah, it's. Because you know what, the reason why I wouldn't say it's a bad spoiler is because as time progresses in the anime, she's always around. You know what I mean? Yeah. And she's in it for the long haul. We'll let that slide pass.
I'm sorry if I spoil it for people, but really and truly, it doesn't really change anything.
It's only one piece of the whole Rin puzzle anyway, so.
Right, so you might be asking where the male figures in this anime, and you've got I'll say the puppet master, whose name is Apos, and he's a guy that's behind the scenes, basically trying to get Rin, trying to get all the immortal women, basically, because there are.
Well, don't talk too much about this guy, because he he doesn't let you know what his intentions are for so long.
Yeah, that is
So
true. But,
long.
all right, basically, just call him the guy who, he's pulling the strings, and I think he's the one that actually employed Laura to try and get Rin. Yeah.
Fair enough.
So put it that way, and then I would say the last main character is a guy called Koki, who Rin saves early on in I think it's like episode 3 or 4.
I think it's more like 2 and 3. Episode 2 and 3.
She saves him from something or whatever.
From death, probably.
From death, and he actually comes to work for them. And he's kind of like would you call him a detective? Well, he's kind of like their second or whatever. He goes around.
He becomes their, I don't want to put this guy down. He becomes their quote unquote errand boy.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that.
First of all, he just kind of works for them reluctantly, but then he becomes a really vital part of their private investigation. I think let's just say he becomes another private investigator.
Yeah, and he becomes a family member because, it's tightening it anyway. So he becomes a very important member of the family in a sense. What I will say is that, because I know I've said this like 3 times about it's going over 75 years, and the reason why I say that is because when you watch episode 1 and 2, you kind of don't realise.
Yeah, you don't realise the passage of time.
Yeah, but then when you see Koki and the fact that, oh, hold on a minute, wasn't he a young man in the last episode, and now he's kind of got grey hair or blah, 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 then he kind of is the one that kind of shows that, hold on a minute, the length of time has obviously passed from one to the other. That was the first thing that made me realise that, oh, this is going on. This is obviously something that's going on for more than a month or something. This is like a long amount of years or whatever. And so, so though, to me, I don't think I've really missed anybody else.
You haven't. I'll just capitalise a little bit on what you said. Yeah, there's a lot of characters in RIN. There's one other character you didn't mention, which is there's a cop. There's a cop that kind of helps them out, a member of the police, an old man. He's only in the earlier episodes, and he helps RIN out, giving her advice, giving her a couple of tips on certain things. Other than that, because the anime goes through a certain amount of years, the characters that come and go, they're not really worth mentioning.
Yeah. The only person that stays is Koki.
Yeah, and that's because they stay in that period of time the longest. But once it starts moving on, it kind of jumps maybe 50 years very, very quickly, So anyway, let's talk about the animation style. Animation, it was good. This anime is very gory, by the way, which is something we might have mentioned before. Rin gets killed a lot, yeah, because she's immortal. And
in some really cool kills, though.
In some really cool kill ways. There's scenes where she getting slowly tortured.
There is one S&M killing scene that's sick.
Yeah, it's
it would
sick.
Be sick because it's S&M, right? But anyway.
But criticism is that even though it's gory, you might see Rin lying on that hospital table while someone's poking needles in her. You don't see the actual penetration. And the gore is kind of shadowed out. Not in a lame way, but, just so it's not so grotesque. It's not bad, but it's a little bit grayed out to the point. I'll bring up one particular point. There's a point where she's been fucking diced up. Someone's diced her up and dumped her in the fucking street. And because she's immortal, her body's being reconstructed. One of the characters catches her, and they see her watch her being deconstructive. Now, when you see that in the anime, because she's in the back of an alley, instead of you don't really get to see it too well. They just draw like a big shadow over her, and you see shapes and the blood. You see shadows of her blood kind of going all over the place, and you can tell what's going on, but you can't actually see it. It's a little bit lame. But at the same time, I don't feel it was really necessary anyway to show that level of gore. It was okay, but to me, if they showed the gore 100%, it might have been a little bit better, but maybe it might have been too much for some people.
Wasn't that the bit where I thought that was when she got blown up?
That happened as well. She got blown up by a grenade as well. And, again, when her body's being reconstructed, she was lying in grass.
Yeah.
And you could see her blood going up and down, and maybe saw a bit of body pieces, but it wasn't nothing like Gantz.
No, it definitely was not like Gantz.
Gantz or even Guyver, the original OVA. But also moving on to the animation, a lot of sex scenes in this anime. And when I say sex, nudity, there's a lot of nudity, and there's a lot of laying on top of each other and fondling, but there isn't actually. I wouldn't say there's actually scenes of you seeing people performing positions, getting fucked. Or it's kind of softcore at best, but it's not really hentai.
I mean, there's a lot of woman on woman action, and there is, like I mentioned before, there is some S&M. That's what a lot of it is about, really.
A lot of it is S&M, and a lot of it is sex is mixed with violence.
Yes.
Most of the time, it's not just sex, and it's not on a fan service level. It's sex for a reason, and actually, without sex is actually a big part of the plot, which we're not going to spoil for you. But sex plays a very big part, and I don't know what else to say about it. At least the sex in this anime is for a reason. It's not just there, to please the guys.
It actually makes a lot of sense, and as a female watching it, I was actually okay with it. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't like rolling my eyes thinking, oh God, this is just to get some guy to jack off in the corner. It actually, like you said, it did make sense.
Yeah.
It made a lot of sense. But there is a lot of woman on woman. I think because of the sexual nature of the anime, there's more woman on woman than man on woman.
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. There's
even a lot more female characters in the anime than male, but the male, they play a very important part.
Most definitely not.
A very, very important part that, we're not going to spoil for you, but it's very, very funny. The men, trust me, you're not going to feel away, guys. This is not one of those animes where you feel like, oh, fucking hell, here's another anime of women getting naked and fondling each other. Oh, hey, don't worry, men are in it. Men are in it. Anyway, let's move on to the sound. You know what I'm saying? Me and you both watched this in English dub, which was done by Funimation.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fucking good.
I really, really, really liked it. And I wanted to give a shout out to the English actress who did, the voice actress that did RIN, who was Colleen Klinkenberg. And we were talking about the fact that she also did the voiceover for someone I know that you love so much, anime that you love so much. So, you want me to mention what it was? Huh?
Yeah.
She did the voiceover for...
She does.
Well, she does, I'm sorry, for One Piece. For Don's favourite character. I'm sure you guys know who that is, so yeah.
Well, no, Monkey D. Luffy is not my favourite character in One Piece. It's actually Sandy.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
But she does play, this isn't we've done a One Piece episode. Basically, Funimation redid One Piece, the uncut version. They got new English voice actors. She plays Monkey D. Luffy in One Piece. And honestly, she is the most miscast person in that whole fucking show. The English version of One Piece is watchable it's bearable at the very least, but her voice for Luffy is the worst choice ever. She sounds like
for RIN,
perfect.
Her
very,
voice is very sultry. It's got a nice little sexiness along with it, and it works really, really well. I really enjoyed it. I think the dub.
I got nothing bad to say about the dub.
The dub was good.
This is one of those animes where I really don't think you have to think about watching it in Jap if you don't want to. Either, to me, it wouldn't be any better in Japanese. I think this is one of the cases where the dub, it was a great translation. I don't think it could be done any better if I watched the original Japanese language. But again, this might be personal preference. So, but you know what? Again, love the dub, man.
Me too.
So anyway, you know what? Say we're coming to the end of the review, and this is the part where I like to ask that question. What do they get from this anime? What do you think they're going to get from this anime?
Well, you know me, I don't really care what people are going to get from the anime. I'll tell you what I got from it. I really like the anime.
That's not what I asked.
I don't care what you are. I'm just going to tell you what I got from it, because everybody's going to get what they get from it. Do you know what I mean? So I'll just say what I enjoyed about it.
It's the same thing anyway. It's kind of the same thing.
Well, you don't want to cut me. Anyway, I think with this anime, you're going to get what I got anyway. See, now you're making me go all over the place now and start thinking about what the peoples will get instead of what I liked. Anyway, yeah, so I really liked the anime, and what I enjoyed about it was the fact that you had really nice, strong female characters which were not lame. You know what I mean? It was interesting. The concept was acclaimed. It was a good concept, you know, and the fact that it's only 6 episodes, to me, when I was watching it, when I look back on it, I felt like it was longer. There was a lot of information in the anime, and the way that it did go over the 75 years and the way that the story progressed throughout that time was really, really, really good, especially when it came to IT. There's a level of information tech that they started to bring into the anime and showed how the world started to progress with IT and things like that, which was really acclaimed to me. I really enjoyed it. And I don't know if we can really talk about it that much.
I don't think we should.
All right, we won't. But yeah, it was really, that in itself was interesting. And that was one of, for me, apart from the actual foundational storyline and everything, the future, the way that they brought the future into it and the levels of and how things changed was really interesting for me. The thing that I didn't like was, once again, the middle end. Should I say the end? Was it really the end?
It was the end. It was more coming to the end. The wrap up. The you know, oh, you didn't. Let's tell you everything you didn't know, and then let's have this big climactic ending with all this crazy shit.
Yeah, the ending was whacker than crack, if you ask me.
Yeah. You know what? I kind of always anticipate that ending because it's in nearly every 75% anime have a very ridiculously built up anticlimactic ending, but this one, it was bad, but it wasn't so bad.
I didn't roll my eyes more than 3 times, put it that way, but it was, I wouldn't even say it was disappointing. It was just like, really? Okay.
Exactly. I feel the same way. It wasn't disappointing. Exactly. It wasn't disappointing, but I was just like, well, all right. Yeah. That's why I don't hate the ending. It's just like, all right, whatever.
But what I will say is that the intro and the outro are interesting. Did you not think so?
More bondage.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. So for me, I think that if you want something short, sweet, interesting, you don't mind a little bit of boobs, you know what I mean? You don't mind a little bit of S&M, like the Rihanna song or whatever. If you don't mind any of that, you know, and obviously, as you can tell, Don was in the corner, you know what I mean, whacking one off, obviously, while he was watching this or whatever.
No, not quite.
You're going to like this. I would be surprised if you don't.
Just like you, I think the thing me and you really appreciate about this anime, which I'm going to reiterate again, is watching the passage of time and seeing how the technology kind of escalates and, you know, has a very interesting effect on the world. Is very apt to how we're living in today's society.
And you can see it going that way, can't you? It just
That's what I'm saying. It feels like this is exactly where the world is going. Yeah. And it didn't hinder the storyline. That really, really built a lot on the anime. And that, in a way, it doesn't have a lot to do with the actual storyline, but it's just really fascinating to see how they did that. And then, you know what? Funny enough, so many anime does this. So many anime like Summer Wars and all these other titles where you see computers playing an active part in the society and Facebook and Twitter and virtual reality, blah, 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 blah. But again, RIN did it in a way where it just seemed natural.
It really seemed like this is it. It just felt like I could actually see this happening. Where in something like Summer Wars, it just didn't feel like it was down to earth. You know what I mean?
I don't like always picking on Summer Wars. I know there's other anime that have done this before.
Don't get me wrong. I like Summer Wars. I know you felt like you'd seen it and heard it all before, but I actually really like Summer Wars.
Yeah, but I mean, in this anime in particular, the technology integration is just so seamless, and it just feels like more like Minority Report kind of level thing.
Yeah.
Than anything else,
because you get to see the negatives and the positives about what the technology does and what levels it goes to.
And to me, that is one of the best things you get from this anime, seeing how our future as human beings could end up with the way technology is integrating into our lives, you know?
Yes, sir.
You know. Anyway, you want to say, let's wrap this up with our final grading, the final ratings for the anime, man. What would you give this anime? Using the Tyro cast rating system.
Right, I would give it a solid B. If it wasn't for the ending, and I know a lot of anime ends this way, but I really don't care. If it wasn't for the ending, it would be more.
It's no excuse.
Yeah, it'd be more. It would be more in a first class for me. It is one of my favorites that I watched. I really enjoyed it. I just thought it was a really good anime. Storyline was good. You know, everything we've always said was good. So I would definitely give it a solid B. If it wasn't for the ending, it would be a first class for me.
Would you watch this again, by the way?
I would.
Yeah, and again, I agree with you. It's the definition of a solid B. You know, it's got elements of originality, sex, violence, technology. For guys, it's got everything you want in there, you know. Maybe there might not be enough male action for you, but to be honest with you, there's a lot of that shit out there, you know. Yeah, my qualm with you is at the end, it's just, I was expecting it. The thing I really love about anime is that it's short. I love short and sweet, and this anime is short and sweet. You watch one episode, 45 minutes, it's like, you know, only 6 pieces of the puzzle left, 5 pieces of the puzzle left, so it's definitely a solid B anime. You said you would buy it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to buy it.
I could understand that. I wouldn't buy it, but I would recommend it to anyone. It's a very, very solid anime. It's kind of adult, though.
It's kind of adult. It's definitely not for the...
The reason why I say it's kind of adult, I know some kids will watch this anyway because, boobies, titties and arse and sex and all that. But
some flipping knife or flipping pin is going through it and needles going through someone's nipples. Not really.
You know what I would say? If you take out the sex out of this anime, it's still pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't really a necessary thing in the anime.
It wasn't necessary, but
it worked.
They made it into a very strong element. They put the sex there for a very good reason.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And there's one scene in particular that I remember that I can't talk about, obviously, because I don't want to spoil it, where the sexual tension between two characters is quite funny.
Yeah, definitely, man.
I think you know the scene I'm talking about. So, yeah, it's quite funny.
Exactly what you're talking about. So, people, you need to watch this shit to find out what we're talking about, man. But across the board, reviews are good for RIN anyway. You can get it in English dub. It's quite cheap. Good quick watch. Check it out, man. Check out RIN, people.
Check it out.